I was there for that moment, and it was a moment that I and millions of people around the world will never forget. It has been 100 days since Pope Leo XIV began what many believe could be a lengthy reign over the Roman Catholic Church. What has marked these first months of the pontificate for the first American Pope? Joining me now to discuss, St. John's University theology professor Tom Williams, and also with us, the CEO and president of Catholics for Catholics, John Yep. Welcome to you both. Tom, I was standing next to you when they announced Roberto Francisco, and you said there's only one Roberto Francisco in the College of Cardinals. It's Prevost, and it was almost you couldn't believe it. Talk to us about these first 100 days and the first impression that the Holy Father has made on the world.
Well, I think that there's an interesting dynamic going on here, because we usually talk about first 100 days in terms of presidencies that only last 4 years. And as you mentioned, this papacy could go on 10, 20 years. And the Pope has not been, Leo has not been anxious to issue a flurry of executive orders, change things up and shake things up. He's actually been very peaceful and quiet and slow and deliberate, which is something that I think a lot of us as Catholics and as Pope watchers have found calming. The 12 years of Pope Francis were difficult 12 years. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of things going on. Pope Leo has begun in a very peaceful kind of way, trying to bring people together, do things step by step, very deliberately. And I think that a lot of people have been very grateful for that.
John, you were also there in Rome at that moment. And, you know, I spoke with Cardinal Filoni the day after the election, and he said that Pope Leo had this capacity to listen, which was he thought was very significant. What has stood out to you over these last few months?
I was going to say, yeah, you know, all three of us were there on that rooftop. It's good to be reunited 100 days afterwards, after witnessing that historic time in Rome for the election of Pope Leo. The number one adjective that, if you just Google today, 100 days since Pope Leo, what is the number one adjective that comes up? It's calm. It's precisely what Tom Williams just said, that he's established kind of a calm first 100 days in. Again, I love the comparison. You know, it's different than a U.S. presidency who has 4 years. I mean, we're talking about 20, 30 years where Pope Leo might be in office. So that's been good. But calm does not mean passive, because he has engaged very much so, not only just within his own church, our own church, addressing 1 million kids who showed up to see him in August. That was big. Also promises to do a live Q&A session with his fellow American youth or citizens back in November. So he's very much wired to be engaging like he needs to be with the young people of today, John Paul-esque, if you will. You also see him extremely active on the geopolitical front too, with how he's brought up, you know, peace, Ukraine, Gaza, and also talking about how, you know, with Zelensky, his relationship there is going to perhaps come very much into focus now that Trump has ended his time with Putin in Alaska.
Tom, well, both of you were Americans. It was sort of double history when we were there, because it's the first American Pope. And as you mentioned, Tom, the last 12 years were very difficult, particularly for the American Church, because there was a lot of actual and perceived hostility between the Holy See and the United States. What have we heard, or what are we feeling in terms of the enthusiasm level now for the church in America because of this pontificate?
Well, I think the American church has kind of collectively breathed a sigh of relief, in the sense that we did have a pope who was a Latin American, who was kind of openly not favorable toward the United States. He bore a sort of prejudice that is typical of certain members of that part of the world. And I think that right now we have a pope who not only is not hostile to the American church, but someone who really understands us. And I think that a lot of people appreciate the fact that it's like, this pope gets us, because there's always been this sense the pope is a foreigner, the pope's over there. What does the pope really know about America? And for the first time in history, we can look to Rome and say, he's one of us. He's one of our guys. He really gets it. And it's a unique opportunity, I think, for the American church to be understood and to have a voice in the rest of the world.
Same question to you, John. 15 seconds, real quick for me.
Yeah, I think it's to hear the Pope in our own native tongue, English, is still something that hits home. And I think it's going to make a powerful impact as he continues to connect with the young people in America. He's got a 57 approval rating among Americans. It's the highest among world leaders, and that bodes well for a future pontificate.
And they're talking about an apostolic visit to the United States, maybe sometime in our 250th anniversary year. Next year, that will be huge. Tom Williams, John Yep, thank you so much for those reflections. Appreciate you.